Everybody, welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. Today we are going to be actually filling the gap for real this time. Last time we went through and looked at a couple options. I put an 1/8 inch piece of aluminum in there to see what it looked like, and then we also tried a 1/4 inch piece of wood off of a shelf that I broke a long time ago. But today I actually want to fill it permanently. Now I did listen to everybody's opinions, and I guess the M3 actually has a piece of foam that sits in between the bumper and the bumper cover, and I like that idea, but the cons to doing that one is a couple different things. One, my bumper pushes really hard down. This bumper cover, it's pushing down with a lot of force, and I'm worried that if I put foam underneath there, it's just gonna squish it and then I'll be in the same position I'm in now. I don't like that foam likes to soak up water and stuff like that. And the other thing is it was kind of expensive. You're basically double back taping it to the inside of the bumper. And so there's just a lot of downsides to that. So I actually went out and got one of these. This is a cutting board. And what's gonna be nice about this is it won't rust. If it gets wet, it's not gonna deteriorate or anything like that. Like wood has a tendency to. And the other thing is if I want to take this back out, it would be just as easy to pull the bumper back, slide this out with no problems. If I were to put the foam in there and I wanted to take the foam back out at some point for whatever reason, it would just be a bigger pain than something simple like this. So I'm gonna try to install it as it sits right now. I might have to take the front bumper off because I wanna make sure that it's even all the way across. And I have the oil cooler already disconnected in there. That's for my supercharger kit. I did have to disconnect that because I didn't have enough room to slide the last piece of wood in there. So we're gonna be using this. I'm gonna be grabbing my little jigsaw that I've got, cutting strips of 2-inch pieces of plastic off of this and installing them in this front bumper to see if we can't evenly fill that gap across the front. So here's the two pieces I got off of that. They are about 2 inches wide. Now, if I wanted to make this all one piece, I actually needed one that was like 24 inches. And I went to the store and I looked, and the biggest cutting board I could get was 20 inches. And this one I had at the house was 18 inches. So I just used the one that was already used, and then we went and bought a new one. So that's how we got this one here. These are 18 inches. And I'm going to be putting one of these in the middle, shaping the edges as needed. And then I can put these on the very edges. I'll probably be cutting this again to make sure that the whole thing is about 24 inches wide. So now that we are done cutting, let's go back over and see if we can't install this without removing the bumper. And hopefully we can get this installed pretty quickly. All right, so this is how it ended up fitting. I'm surprised that I didn't have to go back and forth between the sander and my jigsaw to build this more perfect. Normally what I end up doing is putting something on the car and then adjusting it and then putting it back on the car and adjusting it and going back and forth, I don't know how many times, 10, 12 times, and it just looks like it fit the first go around. So what I did basically was I took the edge of this off so that as this comes up, this slopes down. And then I took these little squares here that I've got, I actually sanded those until they're about half width, so that again, as this continues to go up, we're not actually making this whole thing go up like this. It's gonna try to make it a little bit more flat. So the other thing that I noticed was that my hood, based on how I have it adjusted, can't go any further this way. So when it's all the way down, you can see this gap here looks really nice, and all this area down through here where we just filled looks really good. If you come over here to this side, you can see the hood is further that way. And this little round section right here actually, I think, is a little bit more rounded than this side. You can see this one's a little bit more squared off, and this side's more rounded, which is not good because not only am I further this way than I should be, but it's also missing a little bit of the hood. So this side right here doesn't quite look perfect, but as you can see here, the gap is filled and it is not touching underneath here, so the hood is not actually touching the bumper. There is a little bit of space, not a lot, but just enough to keep these two body panels apart, and I am very happy with this. So from here, I think what I'll probably end up doing eventually is taking the bumper off and getting those mounted permanently with some sort of self-tapping screw or something like that. And at some point I could take those off if I wanted to, so I guess it wouldn't be permanent, but I'll get a screw in there so it doesn't move. For right now, based on how hard the bumper pushes down on those pieces of plastic, how difficult they are to move, I'm not worried about them going anywhere, but at some point I am going to want to fasten them down so that I don't have any problems in the future. All right, so this is gonna wrap up today's video. This was way easier than I thought it was gonna be. I thought I was gonna have to go back and forth between the belt sander and the jigsaw to get this to fit quite right, and I just must have nailed it the first go around because it's fitting exactly like I wanted it to. There's no touching between the hood and the front bumper, so I'm very happy with this. And the look of this all closed up back to kind of where it looked like when I first got the car is absolutely growing on me way more than having that gap there. And on top of all that, I was able to repurpose this. I didn't completely ruin it. I smoothed the edges off, and so we're gonna be able to reuse the cutting board. So I'm very happy with this. I hope everybody enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Also check out my Patreon, link is in the description below. And until next time, we will see everybody in the next video.